From the legendary Messerschmitt 109 to the rocket-powered Komet, Germany fielded dozens of aircraft designs during World War II. Here's every single one, from fighters to flying boats to desperate jet-powered experiments. Let's begin with the fighters, the predators that battled for control of the skies. Messerschmitt Bf 109. The Bf 109 was the Luftwaffe's backbone, with over 33,000 built across dozens of variants throughout the entire war. Its exceptional climb rate and powerful armament made it deadly, but cramped cockpit and short range limited its effectiveness. Despite these flaws, it remained in frontline service from Spain to the fall of Berlin. Focke-Wulf FW190. The FW190 arrived as a brutal workhorse, complementing the 109 with its wide-track landing gear and air-cooled radial engine. Excelling at ground attack and low-altitude combat, it could absorb tremendous punishment and keep flying. Its performance dropped significantly above 20,000 feet, leaving high-altitude interception to its stablemate. Messerschmitt Bf 110. The Bf 110 embodied Germany's heavy fighter concept, designed as a long-range escort with twin engines and devastating firepower. It was slaughtered by nimble Spitfires during the Battle of Britain, exposing the doctrine's fatal flaw. The design found redemption as a radar-equipped night fighter, stalking Allied bombers over the Reich. Heinkel He-51. The He-51 represented the biplane era's last gasp, already obsolete when war erupted in 1939. It was quickly relegated to training duties and ground attack in quiet sectors. Arado R-68. The R-68 served as Germany's final biplane fighter, a transitional aircraft between wars. By 1940, it survived only in ground attack roles on secondary fronts. Heinkel He-100. The He-100 broke speed records and starred in propaganda films, presented as Germany's frontline superiority fighter. In reality, chronic overheating and poor handling kept it from mass production entirely. Messerschmitt Me-210. The Me-210 was meant to replace the 110, but became a production nightmare with vicious handling characteristics. Structural failures and spin tendencies grounded entire squadrons. Messerschmitt Me-410 Hornisse. The Me-410 Hornisse fixed the 210's worst problems, serving as a bomber destroyer with heavy cannon. Despite improvements, it remained outclassed by Allied escorts and arrived too late to matter. Focke-Wulf TAR-152. The TAR-152 was engineered for extreme high-altitude interception, boasting superb performance above 40,000 feet. Excellent in its narrow role, only a handful reached operational units before war's end. Heinkel He-162 Volksjäger. The He-162 Volksjäger was the people's fighter, hastily built from wood by slave labor as fuel, and pilots vanished. Fast and nimble, it killed as many German pilots during training as it did Allied bombers in combat. While fighters battled for air superiority, Germany's bombers and attack aircraft brought the war to the ground. Next up are the bombers and attack aircraft, the machines that delivered destruction from above. Junkers Ju-87 Stuka. The Stuka became the screaming symbol of blitzkrieg, its wailing siren spreading terror as it plummeted toward targets with pinpoint accuracy. Devastating in the early war against limited opposition, it became a death trap once Spitfires and Hurricanes contested the skies. Ground crews loved its rugged simplicity, but without fighter cover, the slow, ungainly dive bomber was defenseless. Heinkel He-11-1. The He-11-1 formed the backbone of Germany's bomber force, flying through flak-filled skies over Britain with distinctive glazed nose. Versatile enough for level bombing, torpedo attacks, and transport duties, it remained in production throughout the war. Its defensive armament proved inadequate against massed Allied fighters, and its moderate speed made it vulnerable. WW2 Flying Pencil. The WW2 earned its nickname from a sleek, narrow fuselage that promised speed over payload. Fast for its time but carrying a light bomb load, it became obsolete by 1941. Its thin profile couldn't compensate for inadequate defensive guns and limited range. Junkers Ju-88. The Ju-88 became the Swiss Army knife of the Luftwaffe, adapted for level bombing, dive bombing, night fighting, reconnaissance, and torpedo strikes. More Ju-88s were built than any German aircraft except the Bf-109, serving on every front in countless roles. Its speed and versatility made it effective long after contemporary designs had vanished from combat. Heinkel He-177 Greif. The He-177 stood as Germany's only heavy bomber, intended to strike deep into Soviet industrial areas. Its coupled engines, mounted in pairs within single nacelles, caught fire with terrifying regularity. Chronic mechanical problems plagued it throughout development, preventing it from ever becoming truly reliable. Dornier Do-217. The Do-217 improved upon the flying pencil with more power and payload capacity. It launched guided bombs against Allied shipping and served as a capable night bomber. Production numbers remained modest compared to the ubiquitous Ju-88. Arado R-234. Blitz. The R-234 Blitz arrived as the world's first operational jet bomber, too fast for Allied fighters to intercept. Initially employed for reconnaissance, it later dropped bombs on advancing armies with impunity. Too few reached frontline squadrons to affect the war's outcome. Henschel HS-123. The HS-123 was a biplane ground attack aircraft that somehow survived from Spain through the invasion of Poland and beyond. Pilots praised its rugged durability and tight turning radius despite obvious obsolescence. Henschel HS-129. The HS-129 was purpose-built as a tank destroyer, heavily armoured and mounting a massive 75mm cannon beneath its cramped fuselage. Designed specifically for the Eastern Front, it effectively engaged Soviet armour at low altitude. Underpowered engines and terrible cockpit visibility made it exhausting to fly. Focke-Wulf, FW-189 Uhu. The FW-189 Uhu featured a distinctive twin-boom design with extensively glazed central nacelle, providing exceptional visibility for reconnaissance crews. Surprisingly tough despite its fragile appearance, it survived punishment that would down conventional aircraft. Beyond combat, Germany's air war depended on eyes in the sky and logistics on the ground. Next up are the reconnaissance, transport and maritime aircraft, the unglamorous workhorses that kept Germany's war machine moving. Junkers Ju-52 Tante Ju. The Ju-52 Tante Ju served as the Luftwaffe's legendary transport workhorse, its corrugated metal skin and 3 engines instantly recognizable over every front. It hauled paratroopers over Crete, desperately supplied Stalingrad's encircled armies, and evacuated wounded across thousands of missions. Slow and vulnerable to fighters, it nevertheless carried Germany's logistical burden from the first day of war to the last. Messerschmitt Me-323 Gigant. The Me-323 Gigant was the largest land-based transport of the war, a powered evolution of cargo gliders with 6 engines bolted to massive wings. Its cavernous hold swallowed entire vehicles and artillery pieces for Mediterranean supply runs. Lumbering and defenseless, entire formations were massacred by Allied fighters over the sea. DFS-230. The DFS-230 assault glider achieved immortality landing on Belgium's Fort Ibn Email, delivering silent shock troops onto the fortress roof. These fabric-covered gliders carried 10 men on one-way trips deep behind enemy lines. Gotha Go-242. The Go-242 cargo glider towed supplies to surrounded units and evacuated casualties from forward positions. Later variants added engines, transforming gliders into underpowered transports. Fiesler Phi-156 Storch. The Phi-156 Storch performed miracles of short takeoff and landing, touching down on forest roads and mountain meadows, impossible for conventional aircraft. Its high-wing design and leading-edge slats allowed absurdly slow flight for liaison and observation. Mussolini's mountain rescue made it legendary, though thousands served in mundane command duties. Focke-Wulf WW2 Condor. The WW2 Condor terrorized Atlantic convoys as the scourge of merchant shipping. This converted airliner ranging far from land to guide U-boats. Its long patrol radius strangled Britain's supply lines during the Tonnage War. Structural weaknesses from hasty military conversion caused airframes to break apart during hard maneuvers. Blohm and Voss BV-138 Sea Drake. The BV-138 earned the nickname Flying Clog for its ungainly triple-engine layout and boat hull. It patrolled Arctic waters and Norwegian fjords on endless maritime reconnaissance missions. Heinkel He-115. The He-115 floatplane launched torpedoes against coastal shipping and sowed mines in British harbours under darkness. Twin floats allowed operations from sheltered bays without prepared facilities. Arado R-196. The R-196 served as the standard shipboard reconnaissance floatplane, catapult-launched from battleships and cruisers across every ocean. It spotted for naval gunfire and rescued downed airmen. Blohm and Voss BV-222 Viking. The BV-222. Viking dwarfed other flying boats with 6 engines and massive range for transporting supplies between Germany and Norway. Only 13 were completed, operating as aerial freighters. Dornier Doe 24. The Doe 24 flying boat performed search and rescue throughout the war, pulling downed airmen from Mediterranean and Baltic waters. Its reliability kept it operational until Germany's final days. Siebel Psi-204. The Psi-204 handled light transport and communication duties, ferrying staff officers between headquarters. Unremarkable but essential, it kept command structures connected. As conventional aircraft failed to stem the Allied tide, German engineers turned to radical and desperate technologies. Next up are the experimental aircraft and jets, the radical technologies born from desperation and genius. Messerschmitt Me-262 Schwalbe. The Me-262 Schwalbe became the world's first operational jet fighter, streaking past Allied escorts at speeds they couldn't match. Hitler's obsession with converting it to a bomber delayed deployment by critical months, squandering its revolutionary advantage. Fuel shortages and vulnerability during takeoff and landing kept it from achieving its devastating potential. Heinkel He-280. The He-280 flew as the first jet fighter prototype, proving the concept worked before losing the production competition to Messerschmitt's design. It never reached operational squadrons despite successful test flights. Messerschmitt Me-163 Komet. The Me-163 Komet was a rocket-powered interceptor that became the fastest aircraft of the war, climbing vertically into bomber formations. Its volatile fuel could dissolve pilots on contact and provided only 8 minutes of powered flight. Spectacular climbs couldn't compensate for limited effectiveness and lethal handling characteristics. Bachem Bar 349 Natter. The Bar 349 Natter represented vertical launch suicide interception, a rocket boosting the pilot toward bombers before ejection. One manned test flight killed its pilot when the canopy separated prematurely. It never fired a shot in combat. Heinkel He-219 Uhu. The He-219 Uhu was purpose-built as a radar-equipped night fighter with excellent performance against RAF bombers. Highly effective in combat, bureaucratic infighting and production priority disputes kept numbers criminally low. Messerschmitt Me-264. The Me-264 existed as an America bomber concept meant to strike New York from European bases. Only prototypes flew before the program collapsed under resource constraints. Junkers Ju-390. The Ju-390 stretched to 6 engines for extreme range, with unconfirmed claims of test flights reaching the American coast. It never progressed beyond experimental status. Focke-Wulf Triebflügel. The Triebflügel remained a tail-sitter vertical takeoff interceptor concept, with rotating wings surrounding the fuselage. Wind tunnel tests never led to construction. Lippisch P-13A. The P-13A proposed a ramjet delta wing, burning coal dust for fuel in desperation. It never left the drawing board beyond wind tunnel models. Horten Ho 229. The Ho 229 flew as a jet-powered flying wing decades ahead of contemporary thinking, its smooth surfaces providing primitive stealth characteristics. Only prototype flights occurred before war's end, but its radical design influenced post-war aviation development. Mistel Composite. The Mistel Composite mated a fighter atop an explosive-filled unmanned bomber, guiding the weapon to bridges and fortifications before separating. Several attacks succeeded, but this desperation tactic reflected Germany's technological innovation wasted on a losing strategic position. Germany's aircraft ranged from workhorses like the Ju-52 to futuristic jets decades ahead of their time. Innovation and engineering prowess couldn't overcome the Allies' industrial might and strategic depth.